joining momentarily. So I called a special board meeting because we had two items that I wanted to address. The appointment of a board member, Boyd Hodges had to sell, or he didn't have to, he sold his unit. And so he was no longer able to serve under our rules. So replace a replacement for him, and then just want to reconfirm the Water and Sewer Committee to negotiate on our behalf. So yeah. So John, I guess we'll go ahead and have roll call, establish quorum.
Yeah, I think we've essentially done the roll call. I guess we're still waiting on Jerry, and if he joins, I will add him to the members present. But we do have 5 members present, either in person or via Zoom, so I can certify that a quorum is present. Also, the board members were all given notice of this meeting on Monday, October 11th, which meets the standard of a 3 business day requirement before the meeting. So the meeting was properly noticed.
Okay, with that, John, I'll call on you. Okay, Jerry just joined.
Okay, excellent. Well, pertaining to item 1 on the agenda, I would like to make a motion that the board appoint taco owner Stacy Lanius to the board to replace Boyd Hodges.
I will second that motion. Any discussion from the board?
Well, if you don't mind, since I made the motion, let me tell you what motivated me to suggest that we go with Stacy is, as some of you may recall, after Dave Dunn made it known that he was wanting to, first of all, step back and then finally, of course, retire, a committee was formed to do a search for a general manager. And Eric Tibbetts at that time, of course, was a board member, and he chaired that. But the 2 members of the board, or excuse me, 2 members of the committee were myself and Stacy. So I have personal experience in working with Stacy, and can assure the board members that during this time when she served on that committee, she served with she was regularly in the meeting. She was a frequent contributor and an active participant, and I would say she made very, very worthwhile contributions to that process. And that process went on for several months. So it wasn't like a one-time meeting. And, so we spent quite a bit of time figuring out the job description and then reviewing candidates, et cetera. And I felt like Stacy did a very good job and was very forthcoming in giving her time and energy. I would also point out that Stacy would bring a wealth of business experience to the board. And although, we all bring various gifts, and not to say that others might not, but Stacy has a long history of success in a business, in her enterprise that she works in. And then also she has a very, very strong accounting background. And again, when we're looking for dedication to the association and expertise that a person could bring to the board, I think Stacy gets a check mark in all those boxes.
Yes, Stacy is a certified public accountant. So, any other comments from the board? Any comments from anyone in the room? Anything online?
Nothing online.
Okay, with that then, We'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Kathy?
I'm gonna vote no, Rick, as I've shared before.
Okay. Okay, John, then it's 5-1. In
Yes.
favor.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
This is Dan Noonan. I tried to get my voice in, but for some reason it wasn't heard. And I know you've already voted, but I will just voice my concern. I don't know why the board did not discuss that you just recently had an election where 3 other members stood up, put in a full application and ran for the board and were voted on by the community, and why we would not consider those 3 individuals and or the next highest vote recipient.
We did consider them, Dan. Since I've been owned here in 2012, there have been 5 resignations and appointments. And every one of those appointments, the candidate had not previously run. And I'd submit that every one of those 5 have been very good board members and valuable assets to the community as a whole. So it's just, we felt like Stacy had talents and had demonstrated a commitment and had more of a history than some of the other candidates that had just previously run. So they were taken into consideration.
How were they taken into consideration when I thought that's what this board meeting was for?
We discussed them. I mean, board members had discussions outside of a formal board meeting setting.
I guess I have to ask the question. Let me just quickly give you a little brief background on myself then. So I've lived in Durango since 1975. I actually moved to Durango to build this resort. And I was in the fire department that was created in 1977 to protect Tamaron. I became the fire chief in 1989. And then we merged organizations in 2002. And I retired in 2016 as the fire chief of Durango Fire Protection District. So I've been involved with boards since 1977. We've had, in being involved in boards, everything you try to do is for the health, wealth, and benefit, of course, of the community you serve. And I know that's why you all serve as well. Many times, I wouldn't say many, I think 3 times during that 39 years that I've been involved, we had situations where somebody ran for the board and then for whatever reason, like this one, somebody right after the election had to resign, and you had to look at who the board was going to appoint. And in my experience, at least in the public venue, they always looked at appointing the person who just previously ran in the most recent election. I guess my only concern, Rick, here is that you say the board had discussions outside of the venue of which is an open public meeting. So how do we, as residents of Taco and Tamaron, voice our opinions if you all are having discussions that we're not privy to?
Well,
Rick,
Hey,
you mind
Rick,
if
if
I
I might-
respond?
Yeah, I was going to suggest that we have John respond as to the process when we have a resignation, because we've had this multiple times before, and there is a process that we have gone through in the past. So, John, I'm assuming that's what you're going to cover.
Well, if I could respond to a couple of things. The bylaws simply say that the board will appoint a replacement Um, The bylaws make no mention whatsoever of recent election results. Now certainly, if the board wished to consider that, I guess it could. I know of one instance in the past where the board was presented with the idea that somebody should be appointed to the board specifically because they ran and came in third or whatever it was. I don't remember the particular circumstance. But again, that is extraneous to the bylaws. I would also want to just comment briefly. I think there was certainly no meeting of the board. I hope everybody understands that Rick is not suggesting that we got together privately and met as a group and discussed this. Basically, these are just informal conversations between board members, just individual board members, and not an executive session or any kind of thing that would be done behind the cloak of secrecy.
And John, thank you. I appreciate those comments. Someone else spoke and said that you had had a process in the back. And again, whatever process that might be you're following, it's not included in the bylaws. And when Rick states that you've had conversations and vetted and had made a discretionary decision to move in a certain direction, I guess that's what I was speaking to. As somebody who was not privy to those, it's challenging to then follow the decisions you make in an open board meeting based upon those previous private discussions. So that's all I was trying to understand.
Hey, Dan, this is Scott Gillen. If I can add something, I apologize. I'm in an airport, but for what it's worth, we've been asking Stacy to get on the board now probably for 4 years. And she has been active. She has participated. There's a reason why she was brought up in the discussion. We had asked her to run in the past. It just so happens that circumstances aligned now where she had the availability and time to do it. So I can assure you, as having been president the last 3 years, her name comes up every year, and we talk to her every year. So this isn't something we just pulled out of our hat this year. Stacy and I think her husband's John have been asked in the past, and they both participated on committees. And as we mentioned in the last board meeting, or the owners meeting, we really want people to get involved on the committees and get engaged, because that helps us understand what their skill sets are and what their strengths are. And we kind of already knew Stacy's skill set and strengths. So for what that's worth, I just thought I'd share that with you.
All right, thank you all for your consideration, allowing me to voice my thoughts.
They are muted. That was all the background noise where Scott is. He's in an airport. There is
Okay.
the one comment.
Okay.
The one chat message I think comes from Taryn Glenn. She writes, "Did not mean to raise hand. Our house definitely believed Dan could he be nominated. We have known him for years. Very balanced and effective individual."
Could have been.
But this is not an election.
This is not an election. Okay, we'll move on to the second item. The second item is more of a technical issue, but it's probably more important to everyone because it affects the water and sewer negotiations with Glacier. And since the negotiation for a new contract for water and sewer services not yet been concluded, I move that the current board reaffirm its support of former board president Scott Gillen and the Water and Sewer Committee to continue negotiations on behalf of the association. Is there a second for that motion?
It's Kathy, I'll second.
I'll second it, Rick.
Thank
Okay.
Kathy, just a second.
Okay. Okay,
Was that Jerry?
yeah, Jerry, and I
Yes.
think Kathy did also.
Okay.
So is there any other comment from the board there? We're basically just, the last board had authorized the Water and Sewer Committee to negotiate on our behalf, and we just wanted to, since we have a new board, go ahead and authorize, under this board, authorize the committee to negotiate on our behalf. And I'm hopeful that we're very close to getting this issue resolved. So with that, I'll take a vote. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, John, 6-0.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, that's all that we needed to cover today. So I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting as of 10:23.
Thanks, guys.
Oh. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second that one.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 10:23, the meeting's adjourned.
Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.